house is on Medicaid. My husband, me, our baby daughter. Okay, we're all on Medicaid. Without Medicaid, I wouldn't be able to have the birth control in my arm that I have. Without Medicaid, I wouldn't be able to have the antidepressants that I have at no cost to me. Without Medicaid, I wouldn't be able to go to therapy to continue to be the mom I am to the 3 kids and 2 separate houses that I have to do. Without Medicaid, my daughter wouldn't be able to go and get her vaccines and go and get all of the things that she needs as an 18-month-old baby. Without Medicaid, my husband wouldn't be able to go and get the medications that he needs and the treatment that he needs for his disability. Without Medicaid, not a single person in my house would have health care. We are low income. Our only income is my husband's SSI. We're on food stamps. We use food pantries. Okay? Without Medicaid, we would never be healthy. And for us, it's not even like body, it's all mental. For my husband, for me, and then we have a baby who needs Medicaid for vaccines, who needs Medicaid for, I already have 2 children who are diagnosed with autism. So what if she ends up getting diagnosed with autism? We need Medicaid. We need Medicaid. And if you live in America, everybody deserves free healthcare. That's it. I just love you. Have a good day.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Global Views with Josh, where we'll break down the stories that really matter and sometimes the stories that make you question if common sense took a permanent vacation. Now, if you're new here, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell because today's episode is going to ruffle some red hats. Now, let's talk about the latest shocker. Trump voters are stunned to learn that the so-called beautiful big bill or big beautiful bill, that shiny piece of political marketing Trump bragged about, isn't helping them climb out of poverty. No, it's actually keeping them right where they are, and somehow they are surprised.
It's about to get really bad for a lot of people. The president just signed what he called his big beautiful bill. He signed that into law. That bill has cuts to Medicaid, cuts to the SNAP program, which is food stamp, a lot of nonprofits that help low-income seniors, low-income families, single mothers struggling to make it. A lot of those nonprofits are going to get a lot less money from the federal government. These are agencies in your community that provide furniture and food and clothing to families that need it. This is not about politics. I'm not advocating for any political group. But the reality is, life just got harder. And a lot of people are going to feel it. Look it up yourself.
Do you make over $700,000 a year? No? Do you have $7 million in your bank account? No again? This big, beautiful bill is going to fuck you. You are not going to get the benefits of this bill. It is going to cut the taxes of the wealthy and make you fucking poor. It's going to give Trump more power over the judiciary as well. We're basically going to be living in an oligarchy. So if you think things are bad right now, get ready for how bad it's about to get.
10 things I hate about the big, beautiful Bill Act that very unfortunately passed Senate today. And here's what it means for the normal American person. First, 11 million people will most likely be cut from Medicaid. Second, grad school, medical school, dental school, law school, all capped at $150,000 in loans. That's all you get. So if you're not rich, you don't get to make those professional degrees part of your upward mobility. Not an option for you. 3, tax breaks for the rich. The top 1% will save thousands in tax breaks, while someone making $80,000 a year may save a couple of hundred. 4, hospitals will be getting less funding from Medicaid. The reimbursement will be lower, which means less money to the hospitals paying for care, which means longer wait times, less staff, and overall worse experience for all of our patients. This will especially affect the rural hospitals and those safety nets who take a lot of patients without insurance and who really depend on Medicaid reimbursement. And if that's not worse, let's look at number 5. 1 in 4 children who benefit from SNAP benefits and food stamps yeah, they're going to be cut. 1 in 4 children. We're taking food from children. 6, Medicaid bans for abortion and gender-affirming care. So if you have private insurance, if you can afford that, that's fine. You can go ahead and get those treatments, but poor people will not be able to. So you're going to have that baby, and then you're not going to be able to get the food stamps for it, and you're not going to be able to get the Medicaid insurance. So that's what we're doing to people. Those on the Affordable Care Act, those who have Obamacare or whatever you want to call it, yeah, that's getting more expensive too, and harder to get. Number 8, more red tape for the poor. So people are going to have to reapply and do more paperwork regularly for Medicaid. However, those who are rich get tax breaks with no extra work, or very least minimal extra work for their tax person. Number 9, not only are hospitals getting less funding from Medicaid, but so are individual providers, once again making them less likely to want to take the insurance from Medicaid patients, meaning that they will have less access to health care, once again hurting anyone who is not rich. And my favorite, number 10, it adds $3.3 trillion to America's debt. This isn't saving us money, it's adding to our debt. You're cutting money from poor people and you're giving it to the rich, and you're adding to the overall deficit. So if you stuck around for this whole video, this is the time to act. The bill now goes to the House to get voted on, and we do not want this to happen. So call your representatives, share this video, peacefully protest, share your stories and experiences. Talk about why you're on Medicaid. Talk about how that's helped you. Real people's stories helps a lot more than statistics. We have to get through this together.
With all the talk of the big beautiful bill, I'm here to remind you that you may think that it does not affect you because in your mind, because you work and you have bills, that you're not poor. But I'm here to tell you that the average person that you see is probably poor. The average person, your average coworker, majority of your coworkers are probably poor. Let me tell you why. In 2025, being poor doesn't look like living on the street, no car, no clothes, no food. Being poor looks like right now money, only having right now money, only having this month money. Being poor looks like you don't have 5-year money. You don't have 10-year money because you have a whole bunch of liabilities, but no assets, no ownership. That's poor today in 2025. Being poor today in 2025 means going to work every day and still having nothing in your bank account. See, being poor doesn't have a number. Being poor is more about placement and advancement. See, when you make it harder to obtain, you hinder people and you keep them stagnated and you keep them placed in a certain position continuously. That's what being poor is in 2025. So yes, I know, shocking, it probably does affect you. It probably does affect your neighbor. It probably does affect a lot of people.
This one travel nurse got on here and said that the big beautiful bill has passed, which means the travel nurse bag is about to go up because there'll be more people in hospitals because they're cutting Medicaid. If they're gonna cut one of the biggest healthcare funding programs in the country, which is Medicaid, that means that less people will have access to health care. Less people will be in hospitals, which means less nurses are going to be needed in the hospitals. So no, honey, that does not mean more travel contracts. That means less contracts, if any, and staff nurses will be losing their fucking jobs too. No Medicaid, no patients, no need for nurses. We about to all be
at the motherfucking unemployment office. And how about they're gonna take Medicaid away from people? For a lot of people, Medicaid is the only way they can survive and live and go to the doctor and get medicine and get treated. And they're talking about more tax breaks for the rich, and then they're like capping out on the loans for grad school students. It'll be shutting down hospitals. Now we are in fucking trouble. Y'all better get that side hustle I told y'all about.
Regardless of who you voted for or where you fall on the political spectrum, I need you to hear what I have to say and receive it with an open heart and open mind, because it's not going to only affect you, but it's going to affect millions of your fellow Americans. This is why the big beautiful bill is going to hurt the working, middle, and lower class. As far as housing, they're going to cut rental assistance, Section 8, and homelessness prevention. If you're a low-income family, a veteran, or a single parent, good luck with finding safe and stable housing. These cuts to housing include HUD programs, Section 8 vouchers, and emergency rental assistance. This impacts families already struggling with rent hikes, and they will face longer wait lists or lose their support. Homelessness is likely to rise, especially for single parents, veterans, and low-income seniors. Landlords in low-income areas may evict faster, knowing subsidies won't come through, and this hurts the working-class families, disabled individuals, unhoused people, immigrants, and unsubsidized housing. Up next, how will it affect food stamps and WIC? They're gone for millions. So if you're working full-time and still rely on SNAP to feed your kids, too bad, babes. You're out. Reductions in SNAP, food stamps, WIC, all those programs, they're being cut. Eligibility thresholds are tightening and benefits are shrinking. This affects millions who may get kicked off of food assistance or receive less, even if they're working full-time. Families with kids will see grocery budgets stretched a little thinner, and WIC cuts means fewer resources for pregnant women, babies, and toddlers. This not only hurts single parents, but immigrant families, gig workers, students with kids, and the elderly. As far as healthcare, Medicaid is getting gutted. That means more uninsured workers, higher medical debt, and fewer mental health resources. If you beat cancer like I did, or live with a chronic illness, they just made staying alive more expensive. This bill causes healthcare program rollbacks. What's being cut is Medicaid expansion and subsidies from the ACA. This impacts low-wage workers who rely on Medicaid, who will then become uninsured or forced into private plans that they cannot afford. Preventative care, mental health services, and prescriptions will become inaccessible. This mainly hurts immigrants, low-income workers, cancer survivors, or people with chronic illnesses. As far as education, they're attacking Pell Grants and student loan relief. First-generation students, immigrants, and parents who are trying to go back to school, the path for a better future for yourself or your family just got that much harder. In relation to the education access, this is what is going to be cut or restricted. Federal Pell Grants, student loan forgiveness programs, funding for public colleges, and adult education. This makes it to where education becomes even harder to access without debt, and immigrants and first-generation students lose their shot at an upward mobility. Adult learners, like parents going back to school, are now going to face more barriers. This hurts the working-class students, DACA recipients, parents returning to school, and people trying to skill up to escape poverty. I know this is one of the biggest ones, but the tax cut for the wealthy and corporate welfare, sweet merciful Jesus. While they're slashing aid, this is what they're doing. Expanding tax loopholes for billionaires, lowering corporate tax rates, deregulating industries that exploit labor. Need I go on? In layman's terms, and in order to translate for the people in the back who are just not getting it, tax cuts for billionaires are untouched. Corporate loopholes are still wide open. They're not cutting waste. They're cutting people like us. They're balancing the budget on the backs of the poor while rewarding the already rich. This is why it matters. This bill isn't about cutting waste. It's about cutting people out of basic dignity. It undermines economic mobility, education access, food security, healthcare equity, human rights for immigrants, and working families. It is a direct blow to the working, middle, and lower class. But here's the thing. This isn't the end. It's a wake-up call. Talk about it. Share this. Show up where it counts. Because we deserve more than survival. We deserve a system that serves us, not one that buries us while smiling. If you stayed to the end of the video, please interact with it in any way. Repost, comment, like, share, because this needs to get out to people like us. A lot of people are not aware of what's happening behind the scenes because they're too distracted. And on top of this, many Americans who voted for the talking orange believe that rules for thee and not for me is how things are going to play out. And it's just not. There are many Americans who are waking up to find out that their lives are going to be impacted by this. Many of them are effing around and finding out the hard way, as they should, but unfortunately, millions of other Americans are going to be impacted by the choices that they have made. So if you stayed, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I hope you have a fabulous day, and God bless you.
The One Big Beautiful Act just passed the Senate, and as somebody who works in Medicaid, I wanted to tell you guys about some of the programs that I work on and how they're going to be impacted and how that's going to affect you, even if you're not on Medicaid. Now, I work on quality improvement, and so a lot of the hospitals and states that I work with get money from Medicaid in order to improve the quality of care that the hospital or healthcare system is delivering. Here's the thing. When a hospital improves how it's delivering care, maybe they're hiring more providers so that they can increase access. Maybe they're getting community health workers who can meet patients in the home instead of patients having to come into the hospital all the time. And these type of programs don't just benefit people who are on Medicaid. If a hospital is using Medicaid dollars to hire more providers, those providers aren't only seeing patients who are on Medicaid, they're also seeing you and I. So with this bill cutting funding for Medicaid, and those dollars are being withheld now from hospitals and states, are they going to have the money to hire those providers? No, the money's gone. If you ever waited a long time in the ED, there are programs trying to reduce those wait times for all of us. Medicaid helps provide funding so that your doctor's office can do more breast cancer screening, more postpartum depression screening, improve pediatric care. And again, those programs don't just benefit patients who are on Medicaid. Because if a hospital improves their process, that's a good thing for all of us because we're all impacted by that improvement in the process. If and when this passes the House, buckle up. If you thought healthcare was expensive and low quality before, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Big bill of bullshit. Let's talk about Trump's big, beautiful bill. A giant tax cutting bill that's going to cost taxpayers $3.4 trillion over 10 years. This is adding $3 to $4 trillion to America's national debt. It was just passed yesterday. An estimated of 12 million people are going to lose their insurance coverage by 2034. Around 10.9 million of those people are people who use Medicaid. He's also cutting funding for SNAP, which is food assistance for lower income families. An estimated of 42 million people are going to lose that funding by 2029. And he's adding $150 billion towards border defense. So who does this bill benefit? It benefits the wealthy people and corporations. They get bigger tax cuts and less deductions. Basically, less responsibility. Who does this fuck over? The rest of us. I will never forgive anyone who voted for Trump if you're not a rich, white, cishet man.
A new U.S. bill just passed Congress, promising big changes in taxes, AI policy, and energy. But here's the twist. It could drastically reshape real estate, especially around AI data centers. In this video, I'll break down what this bill means for real estate investors, commercial developers, and communities. Warning, it's not how you think. Let's dive in. The One Big Beautiful Bill were designed to boost spending, cut taxes, and roll back social supports, but it also includes a sweeping 10-year moratorium on state-level AI regulation. That means states can't regulate AI systems, zoning for data centers, or impose environmental controls for a decade. At the same time, it strips clean energy incentives. That makes building energy-heavy AI data centers far more expensive. So what's the result? Laws that unintentionally discourage clean energy and data center oversight. A perfect storm for a real estate shakeup. Data center demand is exploding. One developer just got a $2 billion loan to build a 100-acre AI campus in Utah, powering 175,000 homes. These facilities demand massive electricity, land, and water. In Virginia and Georgia, hundreds of thousands of square feet of data centers are being approved, often next to residential neighborhoods. But with the bill passed, states lose control over zoning decisions, permitting, and environmental review. That means developers can bypass local rules, raising utility costs and disrupting communities. Here's the real estate risk. Rapid data center build-outs could hurt housing markets. Homes near new centers often trade at a discount due to noise, pollution, and utility strain. Communities in Northern Virginia are already complaining about diesel generator fumes, water shortages, and lost property value, despite tax revenue. Meanwhile, developers may buy up industrial or multifamily land, convert it to data centers, and leave neighborhoods with worse streetscapes and fewer housing options. But not all is doom. Farmland or oversized parcels in secondary markets might become valuable for data center use. Investors could see early gains if they're supporting clean energy-ready zones. Yet if the bill slows clean energy adoption, utilities in some states could struggle to keep pace, raising commercial operating costs and stalling new data center ventures. That means some sectors lose while others thrive. So, what should you do now? Investigate zoning laws and future data center proposals near investments. Track utility and environmental risk, especially in places with high water or grid constraints. Partner with local developers positioned to build green-powered data centers. They get big tax breaks only if clean energy stays available. Consider community alliances. Citizens in Virginia and Georgia have already blocked harmful sightings. Local power still matters. To summarize, Congress passed a bill that weakens state oversight of AI infrastructure. This opens the floodgates for data centers, fueling new real estate dynamics. But it also risks local backlash, environmental strain, and utility disruption. Short-term, investors may earn big returns. Long-term community risk and clean energy decline may erode those gains. If you're investing in or around these zones, now's the time to watch closely. Real estate isn't just about buildings anymore. It's about policy, power, and AI. Let me know in the comments if you're near a proposed data center or worried about one. I'm your future smart guide. Stay up to date with AI and real estate and follow me for more.
Did you really think that Senate Republicans were going to save us from Trump's so-called big beautiful bill? Because they just proved once again who they really serve. And it's not you, me, or anyone struggling to get by in this country. Now, they're probably voting for this to pass as we speak, so here's what went down. They're holding a slim 53-47 majority, just lined up the votes to ram through Trump's one big beautiful bill. This thing is a wish list for the wealthy, extending the 2017 tax cuts, gutting SNAP and Medicaid, axing EV tax credits, and ballooning the deficit by trillions, all while telling working people that it's for their own good. They're celebrating tax-free tips for servers like it's some revolution, but what they're really doing is pulling the rug out from under millions who rely on food assistance or Medicaid. Not right away, by the way. No. The real plan hits a few years down the line. That's when the cuts kick in, and by then, they'll be long gone and blaming someone else for their fallout. And don't let the headlines fool you. This isn't about fiscal responsibility. The bill raises the debt ceiling by up to $5 trillion. So much for the party of balanced budgets, am I right? This is about funneling wealth to the top and leaving the cleanup to the next generation. Probably our generation and on. Here's my take. Every senator who voted for this bill sold out their communities for a pat on the back from their donors and a handshake from Trump. They know exactly who this hurts, but as long as the rich get richer and the stock market goes up, they'll pretend they don't hear us. Now, what pisses me off the most, it's the legacy. It won't be just us dealing with higher prices, gutted social programs, and mountains of debt. It's our kids and their kids. Every administration after this will have to work twice as hard to fix the damage. And trust me, as a veteran, as someone who's seen what government neglect looks like, this is the kind of disaster that's hard to clean up. Also, on a strange turn of events, just when you thought it couldn't get crazier, Trump even threatened to deport Elon over this bill, said he'll take a look at using the Department of Government Efficiency that Musk used to run to see if he can push him out of the country for criticizing the EV provisions in the bill. These are some freaking wild, crazy times. Do you think politicians ever stop to think about the generations who face the mess?
Listen, I don't know how Trump got this big, beautiful bill to pass, but he did. And I'm going to explain to you how it's going to affect you as a normal American. Let's start with government assistance. Trump is cutting the budget for food stamps, Medicaid, daycare, He already got rid of fucking Job Corps. You're probably asking yourself, where's that money going to? It's going to the military. Trump just got $170 billion to boost the military. He's going to give us a golden dome to protect us from missiles and shit like that. Upgraded. We probably going to have fucking RoboCop. $170 billion? You know how much money that is? Yes, we could end world hunger, but who wants to do that when we could drop a whole bunch of nukes on the whole country? You feel me? Like, and I fuck with the military, but not at the expense of low-income people. You feel me? Like, we're taking money from the people that actually need it and using it for what? For violence. Another thing is the rich got tax cuts. Now the rich are not going to be taxed as much. You feel me? Which is crazy because they say they're going to use that to, pay off workers and shit like that. But the rich, they're going to just buy another yacht, do all that shit, whatever. And don't get me started on immigration. Trump got another $170 billion for immigration enforcement. This means ICE is going to get more powerful. They're going to be deporting people at a higher rate. They're going to be making more detention centers, more support for ICE, more support for the local officers. This is going to make ICE the most funded federal agency in America. That is crazy, bro. This will also help them fast track getting rid of birthright citizenship. Birthright citizenship means if you're born on American soil, you're American. It doesn't matter if your parents are American or if they're undocumented. He's trying to change that. Well, he probably will change that with this new bill. It says, even if you're born on American soil, if your parents are American, that doesn't automatically make you American. All in all, let's do a recap. So, he's cutting the budget for food stamps, Medicare. He already got rid of Job Corps. He's going to make it harder for you to get help for school. He's cutting the budget for preschool. And then he's getting $170 billion for ICE. This means ICE is going to be the most powerful law enforcement in America. He's also going to be getting billions for the military to create golden domes around our heads so it could stop us from missiles and shit like that. And he's also giving tax cuts from the rich. So that's all you need to know. I'm gonna come with more information, but yeah, this shit is crazy. Let me know how you guys feel. Do you guys think this big beautiful bill is a good thing? Do you guys think it's a bad thing? Do you guys think we're gonna be affected? Like, what's up? How y'all feeling about this shit? But yeah, this Wine Politics and I'm out.
You'd remember when Trump stood on stage smiling like he just won The Apprentice, White House edition, and told America that his big, beautiful tax bill would be the best thing ever for the working class, right? He said it would create jobs, boost wages, and make America rich again. Well, it did make some people rich, just not the folks cheering the loudest in those red hats. I'm sure you know. The billionaires, they are living their best lives. Corporate profits hits record high. CEOs bought more yachts and Wall Street popped champagne. But the small town Trump voters, the ones who believed the act of the deal was about them, are looking around like, wait, why am I still broke? Here is the punchline. The big beautiful bill was never meant for them. It was a massive tax break dressed up as patriotism, sprinkled with false promises and wrapped in a flag for good measure. But hey, Trump did tell them it was beautiful, right? He just didn't mention for whom, right? It's wild watching interviews now with Trump supporters who say things like, I thought this would help people like me. Really? You thought a man who puts his name on golden towers and charges $500 for a steak would patronize your local dinner and your that $5,000 salary? Bless their optimism. Many of these voters were, convinced that cutting corporate taxes would magically trickle down to their pockets. But instead of a trickle, they got a dozen. A few cents here, higher prices there. And now, with inflation biting and wages stagnating, the drizzle turned into a drought. Trump's diehard supporters in small towns who voted for him, thinking he would fight for the forgotten man, are now facing higher prices, stagnant wages, and gutted public programs. But somehow, Trump's still out there, yelling about fake news and witch hunts, while people can't even afford groceries. The big beautiful bill was sold like a golden ticket, but it was really a coupon for the rich. And the bill for everyone else, right? Now, many of these or those same Trump voters are realizing they've been duped by the same salesman they cheered for. The promise of prosperity, it was just another political mirage in the desert of American inequality. And as a rural America crumbles, as the rural America crumbles under medical debt, low wages, and inflation, Trump's out there talking about how great the economy is for billionaires, maybe. The people who truly needed that beautiful help got served another dose of poverty wrapped in patriotic packaging. So here we are in 2025, watching history repeat itself. The very people who believe Trump was their economic savior are realizing that the big beautiful bill wasn't written for them, it was written on them, right? It's a brutal reminder that slogans don't pay bills and blind loyalty doesn't build wealth. The truth is, if a policy sounds too good to be true and comes with a Trump signature, you might want to check your bank account before you clap. But what do you think? Do you believe Trump's supporters are finally, waking up? Do you think his supporters are finally waking up to the economic reality of his beautiful promises? Or do you think they will keep defending him no matter how broke they get? Drop your thoughts below in the comment section. I really want to hear what you think. Don't forget to like this video, share the video, and subscribe for more unfiltered breakdowns on what's really going on behind the headlines. And until next time, stay informed, stay sharp, and remember, a big beautiful bill doesn't mean much when it's beautifully kept or beautifully keeping you poor. Until next time, credit belongs to original creators.